Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age conversations YouTube channel. Iceman, that's what I call myself with the Ice Age. Why not, right? I didn't know. And Tom Hanks, my brother wanted to see. I saw the movie. Talk about a total, mind blip from just getting up and getting going this morning. We'll talk about, but hey, Tom Hanks, right? Tom Cruise, the Maverick Man, Iceman, his competitor. Gotta get the garbage out of here, but boy, I tell you what, it's awful quiet out here. I missed all the noise with the garbage truck out here. And so Top Gun, I saw the second version over the summer, and I got the Amazon Prime down here. My brother was intrigued to see it, so for $3.99 I bought my brother and my dad actually. We watched the movie last night, Top Gun, and with Tom Cruise and the crew, and one of the key commanders, that guy got that was the name Iceman. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I got the Iceman name right. So anyways, hard to believe I've been down here 2 weeks. Hard to believe, just time and life. But boy, this area here, it's not necessarily quiet, but here's my neighbor. I'm using his driveway. Really great couple that lives here. And when they go away, they let me use their driveway, which that is very beneficial for the for me, being hauling vehicles. I pack in my dad's garage and driveway, and I'll just bring the garbage can up here so it helps the gentleman that babysits the house for him get it in, if you know what I mean. So anyways, I said it's kind of quiet. Is it quiet? Well, for this area here, it is quiet because you don't have a lawn guys here every day like you do in the warmer months. And that's kind of what I got to thinking to myself, quiet. Yeah, quiet. Is it awful quiet? I even mentioned that yesterday. You know what? Some little orange rags. I have that on there because I don't even be hitting the bike. Rode this bike yesterday. Heck, this bike's going to be at 500 miles here. And I'm going to change oil. It's so interesting. Indian has a 500-mile oil change. Harley is 1,000 miles. What's that all about? I mean, many people would be, 500-mile oil change than the 1,000-mile oil change. But it's the morning going here, Tuesday morning, and it's quiet because the kid and dad are up the road getting the Starbucks coffee. So, somewhat quiet here. But once again, here's the thing. I read an article early this morning. Really, I've read an article at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I kind of finished reading the article when I got up this morning. And boy, oh boy, wow, quiet. And I thought to myself, what, this is I think it would be a good conversation this morning. It's quiet. And I mentioned this yesterday, that it just seems like it's awful quiet. And I think what we can use in the car theme, because I know people watch my YouTube channel. If you watch the morning conversations, I'll be the first to raise my hand, and people are like, this guy he has a car channel, and he shows himself buying cars and motorcycles and trucks, but at the same time, this guy has so many conversations that aren't really totally about the cars, but to the degree they are, because of what's going on in society, the change of our society, which there really is a change in our society more than ever in this country happening, whether you want to accept it or not. So I thought the quiet. And the reason I'm using that message is because I think it's really interesting that the CEO of Toyota even mentioned in an article that the silent majority, he so strongly feels that there's a silent majority that aren't supporting the EV green agenda, radical movement on vehicles. And I thought to myself, boy, if that isn't the truth, he said that here openly. He's been attacked. He's being sued by Greenpeace. And Toyota has a special relations department right now trying to tame down the hate of the Toyota product and the CEO of the product, because he's not toe heeling to the green agenda people that want to tell him how to run his business. I don't know about you, but I've owned my own businesses, and one thing I've learned in life is you just don't tell somebody how to run their business. I mean, I'm out in the field a lot. I interact with people all the time. And one of the first things I'll kind of have in conversations is, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, number one. I can give you ideas. But if I'm doing negotiating deals or whatever, even to the point where I'm buying cars, motorcycles, whatever it may be, I'll look at the person that's trying to get the deal done or what they're trying to pull off. And I'll point blank say, look, I am not here to tell you how to do your job. I'm not here to tell you how to run your business. I'm not here for that. That's not my responsibility. I'll be more than happy to help and maybe think how we can make this make sense, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. And that's what happens. People in society today, more than ever, are you being told what to do? I mean, what's the underlying theme and message more than ever in the social media machine and everything else, and the green agenda and the electric vehicles? And I just thought, wow, just using the CEO of Toyota, who's I guess he's the grandson. I think he's the great grandson of the original founder. I would guess. So he's totally on the page at the silent majority. We have a silent majority, just not wanting to raise their hand and fight this this green agenda EV stuff. So I thought, wow, isn't that the truth about electric vehicle? The biggest thing that I hear from people instantly about electric vehicles is they're silent, they're quiet, and so I think this is a perfect example, just in the car automotive world, that we're transitioning into silence. And don't get me wrong, electric vehicles going down the road at speeds have noise based on tires being, going against the pavement of the road. But a vehicle that's just pulling out of a driveway or just going down a street in a residential neighborhood, for the most part, you can't hear those vehicles. I mean, you can't hear a lot of new vehicles either that have gas engines, but the electric vehicle for sure is a very quiet vehicle, and there's concern of that for people that are blind or, people who don't have good vision, that they'll get run over by an electric vehicle. But even though electric vehicles have a lot of technology in them to try to hopefully stop that, but the whole point is the electric vehicle is the silence of change, or is it? And the reason I'm saying this is because the Toyota CEO made a great statement on how there's a silent majority. And I think to myself, boy, that's a broad statement of where we are today more than ever, but especially in the automotive world. And you can take that in many aspects. You can take the fact that do the automotive manufacturers want to raise their hand about the serious challenges they're in? Are they being silent behind the scenes? Does the automotive industry, I was pointing out the other day that I was driving down the road here in Florida, and there's a field of cars. Where do those cars belong? Are the dealerships being silent? Is the automotive industry being silent that they really do have product kind of back in line, but they just don't want to have the lots full of new cars again, because then it creates the perception that they're desperate to get rid of product and they just have to give away to get rid of it, and they've lost their edge on us on selling product at premium price. Are they being silent about that? I mean, we know. One thing I've learned many years ago is if you work for a business, and what I've witnessed in businesses, you don't share the dirty laundry. So if you think you're going to go into a car dealership or a motorcycle dealership or a boat dealership or a RV dealership, and you think you're going to get these guys to start, telling you how bad off it is or isn't, I don't know. It can go both ways. They seem to brag more about how be so lucky to buy something means they can't keep the showroom floor and how their sales are through the roof. I don't hear them bragging about, and don't take this wrong, anybody that's on my YouTube subscription that's a sales guy. I'm just sharing general information about being silent. I mean, who's going to raise their hand? Do you go to work in the morning where you've had a bad argument with your wife, or you've got something that's happened in your family? I mean, do you come in and you start sharing all that information with everybody you work with? Usually you're pretty silent. In fact, you can usually read people some days just from that. They're kind of a little more quiet, silent. You're kind of like, something's going on. We all can just kind of feel that out. But here's for the automotive industry. Are they being silent more than ever about how the real change has happened, and they're going back to pre-pandemic levels of sales, and it's kind of back in the buyers' powers versus the sellers. Is that happening? I don't know. I think it is. I mean, I haven't witnessed it in a radical way. I still don't see dealerships begging people to buy a car and taking $10,000 off a new truck to buy a vehicle. That hasn't been I haven't heard those stories in a while, even though Ram has some big incentives, but these are usually the low-line trucks who are just trying to get off the freaking lot because nobody wants them. I don't know. I mean, is Ford doing that yet? I haven't seen the $10,000 Ford rebate, or have they? I haven't seen that one. I would have to say now, it goes to 2 years. So just the automotive industry, if you just use that as an example, has the automotive industry gone silent on that? They're now back to the old days, and they really do need you to come down to dealership and buy a car, and they'll negotiate and discount and do whatever they can to sell your car. Or is it still pretty much the same? But the Ford dealerships I go to, the F-150 series trucks, they're abundant. I mean, they're healthier than I've seen them in 2 years. So I think that Ford, for the most part, has kind of got their act back together. Toyota, I don't know. Toyota seems to be in a shambles. I don't know. It just seems like the Toyota dealerships, they have a lot of Tundra trucks. Much beyond that. And what's interesting is if you kind of look at Toyota and you look at the European manufacturers, this is kind of the silence. Have you noticed that the major domestic manufacturers, what do they sell in cars anymore? Besides the Mustang, the Corvette, the Camaro, the Challenger, the Charger, which those are going away. Challenger going away next year. I mean, if you think about the Toyota brand, the BMW brand, the Audi brand, the Lexus brand, the Hyundai brand, they seem to have more cars than SUVs. And keep in mind that the Hyundai doesn't have per se the truck. They got the Santa Cruz, which that's not a truck. Yeah, watch my video on that. The neighborhood's calling out a Santa Cruz, a little four-door Baja-looking little former Subaru-style vehicle with a little open area in the back, that it's a truck and it's an eyesore to the community. Beyond believable. People have, yeah, boy, do I have to stay silent on that one? Yeah, I'll stay silent on that one. But the point is, if you look at the main manufacturers in this country, domestic, they're not really as big in the automotive sedan side as the Europeans and the Asians. So it's more trucks and SUVs. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you is for Ford, you go to a lot, and all you're going to see now is the F-150s, and you're going to see the SUVs and Ford Mustangs. You're going to see four-door sedans. So their inventory, from what I can see, is pretty healthy again. But are they being silent about that, right? So the silence, and I talk about this in many of my videos, and I think that, I'll use Elon Musk once again. It's Elon Musk day in, day out. I know. I can't stand it. Can you stand it? But we got to use the guy. I was never an Elon Musk follower guy. I mean, this is years ago, what I used to think about with Elon Musk, I think it just seemed like the Tesla was just too perfect. Do you really ever remember hearing a lot about Tesla having issues? And here's my thoughts, and don't get me wrong, anybody that owns a Tesla, I'm not here calling out Tesla. I'm not here discriminating against you or really, trying to badmouth the brand. That isn't my point here. I'm just asking a general question. I always felt that Tesla had such a huge following of the believers and liked the technology that they wouldn't raise their hand if the car wasn't right. And I think there was, I think there's kind of a few reasons for that. I think number one is if you get a new brand product in the market and you start bad-mouthing your own product, it devalues the vehicle. And then devaluing the vehicle devalues the stock. So I always felt like for Tesla, I've always felt, it's a good product, but at the same time, just never heard many stories of the Teslas being, there's stories that Teslas being, sidelined for issues, and somebody may not have a car for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Is that factual? I don't know. But the point is, I think there was a lot of silence on the vehicle because people didn't want to tarnish the brand because it's an expensive vehicle. You just want to spend $100,000, $80,000 on a vehicle, and you've got a stock that's hot, and you start kind of ramping up the talk about how the product isn't that great and blah, blah, blah. Then, what happened to your value of your car and your stock? So I always thought for many years, Tesla was kind of the silence, I don't know. I mean, once again, it was a Tesla can more than happy to reach out and say, Iceman, you're full of baloney. Okay. That's fine. I mean, I can take the jabs. I mean, but now, or can I be silent? Yeah, right. Well, here's a guy here, right? Can I be silent? No. So what's intriguing all this conversation? I'm sure anybody here watch my channel. I don't know. I mean, sincerely, yesterday, I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. I'm not embellishing to you or lying to you. I don't have some crew of people standing around me. I don't have like in front of me of me reading anything. I mean, so I'm not like here. I don't have a phone here, another phone here. I'm looking at. I'm just talking off my head, and I retain how much you got to retain, right? So anyways, what brought that up? Well, what brought that up was I read this article that Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, is the anti-woke guy, and he supposedly has really shut down the woke movement in our educational system. And yeah, so we've gone from the car conversation of the silence. The electric vehicle seems to kind of be the theme of being quiet and silence. And what's the underlying how long do the silent majority stay silent and eventually speak up? I mean, I think that what would be the true story is they claim in Europe 11% growth in EV sales this past year. So we're going to come down to, I think, the EV growth sales is going to be the silent majority's views or whatever, meaning that if the EV vehicle is still sought after the coming 2023 and we have inexpensive fuel. Oh, I think you heard the kid and the dad. Oh, it's going to get challenging now. Have inexpensive fuel. Yep, here you come. Then do the people still go to the flock to the dealership to, here we go. Yeah.
What are you going to do today?
I got some plans, but we'll talk about that.
What are we going to
do? Wow, this is crazy. Wow. Hey, you just stay patient. You
Dad?
have your brother and dad do his YouTube videos.
Because I have some videos to show you.
Here we go. This will be a Poppy sitting in the car and probably sitting there drinking his coffee and looking like Poppy. Have I kind of narrowed it down?
No, that actually is not what I'm going to show you.
Okay, well, when I'm done with my YouTube channel, we'll look at it. How about that idea?
I'm waiting.
Okay, all right. Get in there and take care of Poppy.
I have to make an omelet.
And Grandmommy.
Don't tell me what to do.
Oh, wow. This is now one from howdy to gee whiz attitude, right? Now I just don't tell you what to do. Yeah, and break my whole conversation on, so the EV vehicle is the silent majority going to speak up based on the EV sales kind of, taper off. That'll be a silent majority message, right? So anyways, the reason I brought this up, Silence of the Lambs. Hey, one of my YouTube channel guys said, Under Pressure, Queen. I was like, yeah, that's cool. So one of my YouTube subscribers reached out and said, hey, Under Pressure is a great song, right? And he said, that was the group Queen. I'm like, right, that's awesome. He's listening. I talk and say things, and sometimes I think that, sometimes I don't think people listen to everything. So when I hear some people make these little comments like, wow, they're good. They really actually listen to me. That's pretty impressive. So anyway, so what brought up the silence? Well, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, passed apparently an education law or statement of stop the wokeness, stop the teaching the woke. And so for many people who come to Florida, they know this is looked at as more of a conservative state than a liberal state. If you haven't figured that out, then you're not into the politics. But yeah, this is not California, not New York yet. Don't take it too strongly there, New Yorkers or Californians. But yeah, I mean, you're labeled in this country because of your governing body's views and how they run the states. And that's why people are moving to other states to get away from that governing style, political platform, whatever. So anyways, what brought this up is I read this article, and it's just really like, wow. This lady, Carol Swain, she actually has written a book called Black Eye for America, the burning of America from the critical race theory and stuff. So the article's about actually interviewing individual students that actually go to different universities here in Florida. This is all Florida-based information. So the whole article is talking about how the silence, how the conservatives are being silenced. So they do interviews with students that are conservative and religious, beliefs, and are white. And what the students are sharing, which this lady Carol Swain already knows that this is happening in the state of Florida, even though Ron DeSantis wants to make the claim. That's the whole article. What Ron DeSantis is claiming, that the universities aren't teaching wokeness, is not factual. It is, the CRT, critical race theory. Anybody out there that doesn't know what CRT is, that's the abbreviation for critical race theory, but they've actually renamed that to a different name. It's all the same thing. Critical race theory is basically the suppression, the oppression, and the oppressors, the whites versus the blacks. And so that's the critical race theories based off the 1619 readings. These are all things you can read, can look up on the internet. And the 1619 readings are from some lady author from New York Times bestseller. In the 1619 readings is about how this country was really founded on slavery, and that was this whole white supremacy dominance that created this country. And they want to put a stop to the white supremacy in this country. So they're teaching critical race theory in 1619 readings, and it's the Marxist, and it's the Marxism that is here in our schools or universities more than ever. That's just underlying really communism at some point once they've accomplished their brainwashing job. In my opinion, it's my views. Other people have different views. If you're a university student right now, you may just turn this channel off right now because you don't want to hear what I'm going to say, because this is what's being taught. And it's called the silence of the conservatives, basically. Silence of the religious people. So what's happening is, through this article, is I'm trying to explain, is Florida isn't this so-called not woke state. It's a woke state. It's the universities are supporting, and the professors and the chancellors and the deans and the student bodies, whatever, they're all supporting the woke agenda, which is what I just explained to you. So when it goes into kind of lengthy conversations with these students that are being silenced, that to the point that they explain that when you take a class and you use he in your writings versus she or they, that's your paper is probably going to be an F. So for those that don't know it, but the nouns and verbs and the way you say things is all being changed, and you reference things to she instead of he, and to they instead of him. So if you're a college student and you write a paper and your references are he and them, you failed. The professor will fail you. It has to be she and they. So, okay, all right. Yeah. And then if you present your conservative political views and religious views, you're probably going to fail as well. And if you challenge professors on their views, then you're probably going to fail as well. So what these university students are saying is that what they're witnessing, they've come up from the core foundation of this country of religion and freedom and family and your gender, and you believe in who you are. So they're being challenged in the schools they go to, and they're being shamed. They're literally shamed. So if you're a white person right now and you go to university, the reality is you're being called out because you're white. It's the anti-white movement more than ever in modern times. But it's being silenced. You're just not hearing about this. The media machine isn't talking about it. They're going to talk about it because they're accomplishing what they want to do. And that's what I was saying yesterday. If you watched my video yesterday, I was saying it's awful quiet. It's very, very quiet. And the reason it's very quiet is because the liberal media has accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. Back in 2019, 2020, they got rid of this terrible man that was destroying this country, where you had incredibly high gas prices, incredibly high prices for food, incredibly high prices for rent, incredible high prices for homes, incredible high prices for everything you bought. Wait a second, that wasn't the previous guy. That's this guy. Wait a second, did the media fast forward or something? Has anybody figured this stuff out yet? Wow. Did anybody just hear what I just said? Yeah. Yeah. So the guy sitting in office right now, he's the better than the last guy because the media likes this guy. They love this guy because he's silent. Yeah, it's actually very factual. He's very silent for the most part. I mean, he just doesn't. I mean, come on, a guy that's close to 80 years old. How much do you got to do jumping jacks? I think the next president that runs has to do 100 push-ups, 100 jumping jacks, has to be able to put his leg out in front of him and touch his nose with his eyes closed, and has to be able to say the alphabet backwards, and has to be able to rub his tummy and chew gum and talk at the same time. What if those are pre-qualifications for the president? Do you think the guy sitting in office right now would qualify? Let me know. Are you listening to that comment? Love to hear those comments. So anyway, so the silence, yes. So the silence is being accomplished. So more than ever, and even I said this yesterday, the Elon Musk buying Twitter things got him all over the map. I gotta get coffee. I'm getting coffee, and here I'm going. Come on here. The Chinese couldn't be silent anymore, so now they're saying they broke the silence, but they're saying everybody's dropping dead, and there's 250 million people with COVID. And they locked down for 2 years. I mean, does anybody think these things through? So they locked everybody down for close to 2 years. And it's 2 years later, nothing's been accomplished. I mean, does anybody think this stuff through? Just be unbelievable. China locks everybody down for 2 years. You've been pent up for 2 years, and finally they let the doors open up, and it turns into a fiasco. Well, then what was accomplished for the 2 years? I mean, is anybody? Oh my gosh, it'd just be unbelievable. So, anyways, the silence. So it's really informative here for you. I'm sure some people know this, but believe it or not, I've run into people, I talk to people, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm not making fun of them. I'm just sharing with you. You'd be amazed how many people are clueless of how critical race theory is being taught in all the education, kindergarten through 12th grade, in the universities, in the workplace. We're now seeing it in the military. I mean, it's big. I mean, and maybe I'm just delusional and I'm overreacting to all this, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I don't know. I have an open mind, but at the same time, I think when a professor tells you that you can't think the way you want to think because you're a conservative and you have religious beliefs, and I can tell you, I can attest to you that I do know for a fact that what's going on is happening. I have personal relationships with others and people that have told me these stories. So Amy thinks this is just a journalist, Carol Swain, Black Guy for America. Look her up. And she doesn't look my color, just so you know. And she's calling this out big time. 30 years in progress. The Marxism is here. It's happening. What these younger people and people that are being taught all this don't understand is that Marxism turns to communism. And nobody understands it. The professors never talk along about all the communist dictators that extinguish millions of people. I mean, but capitalism is really bad, and the Western ways of our society are really bad. And yeah, and over in China, they're exterminating the Muslims left and right if they don't convert to their beliefs. And here's my dad there, and there's the kid. You hear all the noise. The silence is done. See, I'm done. The silence is over. I had my moment of silence to convey a message this morning. Just a message, just things, ideas. Once again, my YouTube channel, what I like to do is just share ideas and thoughts. That's what it's about. And I'm more than willing to listen to other people's ideas and views. Why critical race theory is such a great idea. Why Marxism is such a great idea. Why someone who has religious beliefs is being told they're foolish and don't support that. Why that's a great idea. Why that everybody can convert to look like something else and be whatever they want and walk in any bathroom they want and everything else. I mean, okay, I'd like to hear that idea, but the foundation of this country wasn't founded on those things, meaning the family and religion have been the base of this country. In most countries, the world, history, history, hello history. Where's the history of the lawless societies? Oh, there is. We know that, right? And that's another thing that's talked about, is that all these progressive and radical, actually there's a book for radical justice, radical beliefs. There's literally a book written that's given to students on how you advance the agenda of the CRT and 1619, and you progress the whole movement of anti-white on on how you interact with people and how you, for the most part, it's a devious thing, and how you what you say to people, and it's intimidation, and it's misinformation, and that's what's used. And it's actually a book out there that teaches people on how to try to convert me to be like them, which they just look at me, as being a white supremacy guy because I'm white and blah blah blah. But the whole point is the what's going on in our country right now more than ever is really happening, and what's happening is that these professors are teaching your future district attorneys and prosecutors to believe more in the Marxism ways and the anti-white ways, and also that then resonates into the way of how they feel law should be written and enforced. And what we're witnessing from that is they don't enforce law. Yeah, I mean, and what it comes down to, there's actually in college, there is actually questions and answers on how a black person should be treated versus a white person that has committed a crime. And should they appease more to a black person to not have to really face the consequences for their crime because of them being suppressed by the white supremacy, And so, oh my goodness, it gets pretty deep, right? I get all that, but I just think that, wow, reading this article this morning about Florida, the governor of Florida claiming to be this is an anti-woke state and the universities are anti-woke, he's totally wrong. That's totally false. He doesn't know what he's saying. There goes another political person that tries to present themselves as somebody that's done something, and I'm sure one part of the state is excited. The other part of the state's like, screw you. And that's what the universities are basically saying. They're like, pfft. Even the point that there's journalists that have reached out to some universities, they won't comment, they won't talk about it. It's like, we're not talking about it, but it's being taught in their classes, and so that's where the silence, and that's what I'm trying to explain this morning, is the silence of us, somebody like me, and for like my daughter, or for anybody else that has a child that's going to school, they're being taught to be silent for their beliefs, their religious and conservative beliefs. And they have to adapt to the Marxism beliefs. Wow. Just technology, and that's what I was saying earlier about Elon Musk with Twitter, that's just going to be silenced. FBI is already starting to make claims and statements that this is being exaggerated. It's not factual, even though there's an individual that this has just happened recently. There's a young man that goes to the University of Florida. He didn't want to be named, but he is a Catholic, white, young man, conservative, and somebody said that he's an extremist. He's radical. So the FBI literally knocked on his door. This is a true story. The FBI literally interrogated him, came to his house, and questioned his beliefs because he's a member of the National Rifle Association. He's a Catholic religious individual, and he's white. And because he doesn't agree with the professor's views and ideas, he's been called out by somebody. Somebody reported him to FBI. So FBI literally spent an hour at his apartment interrogating him on who he is. Wow. Does this sound like Nazi Germany? I mean, is anybody picking up the pieces here? I remember that everybody used to call Trump the Nazi man and Hitler. The SS? Are you kidding me? Wow. So for those words I just used, I'd be willing to bet that, does this video even get published this morning? Does YouTube even publish my video just from some of the stuff I'm saying? It may not. I mean, I don't know. Because am I being silent? Am I being silent? Am I going to get called out? Could be. Well, whatever. I mean, sincerely. Okay, so they don't publish a video. Is it going to make the difference in the world? It won't, because I'm just a little flea in the desert of my YouTube channel compared to others. All right, everybody. Hey, not wanting to be riled up. That's not that's not who I am. And I tell people all the time, anybody gets physical in today's world, doing violence to people, it isn't going to work. The social media machine and the media machine will kill you. The only way things begin to change our society is hopefully what Elon Musk is trying to do, and is trying to disclose on how the media machine is not very nice. it's silencing so many. That's the whole point of the Twitter thing. It's silenced many from giving the facts of their views and opposing opinions for people to sit back and try to come to closure what makes sense and what doesn't. And so we're witnessing it just from Twitter that yes, the social justice machine is working overtime, and it's not silent by any means. But like I said, the violence in the streets, where is it? They don't need it right now. But for you to be an individual and get violent and go to the streets, it's not going to work because you have a totally opposing media that will destroy you. You have to take control of the media machine and the social justice machine to progress things the way you want to try to get into people's brains what is more common sense and right than wrong. Yeah, good luck. You need George Soros money. Do you know who George Soros is? Right. Yeah. Do you know who Valerie Jarrett is? You know anybody here? I wonder if anybody knows who Valerie Jarrett is. You need to look that up. Yeah. Yeah. She was the beginning of the change in this country more so than ever. Yeah. She probably wrote a book for a guy that claimed to make a book. And if anybody knows who Valerie Jarrett is, you'll understand my underlying message of what I'm talking about. That this all kind of started here a little while back. A few presidencies back. Yeah. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching my channel. What am I doing today? What do I got planned today? Huh? Stay tuned. God bless. Stay safe. And